Welcome, beautiful souls, to Lotus Flower Wellness Temple, a space of mindfulness, energy awareness, healing, and conscious transformation. So welcome to everybody here in Temple and all of you joining us on our live. You're all loved and welcome here just as you are. So we are a community that supports each other where we are, getting back to our authentic true self and building a life that we can feel harmony flowing through it and creating that as well. So welcome everyone. All right, so today we are continuing our journey into the conscious thought rewiring. That's what we've been discussing lately. And we've been exploring something very subtle but very powerful. The tone of the voice within is what we're going to be discussing today. So it's exciting. Yeah, we've talked about noticing your thought patterns. We've talked about interrupting limiting loops within your thought patterns. And now we're going to go a little bit deeper today. So today is about transforming the way we speak to ourselves. So who could use a little help with that, right? Right? Everybody's got that little voice inside of them. And we're going to get a little bit more into that. So there is that voice that lives inside of each of us. And it narrates, it comments, it predicts things for us, and it definitely critiques us, doesn't it? Most people believe that this voice is who they are, but that simply isn't the truth. It's conditioning. It's definitely parts of your memory surfacing. It is internalized authority, and it is protective mechanisms that are coming up for us. And often it is very harsh. So notice how easily the things that we say to ourselves internally can come up and become a habitual practice, right? You find yourself saying, oh man, I never do that right. Essentially, you're telling yourself that's your story. And so what we're focusing on today is changing some of that, rewiring some of that so we can start to speak more positively to ourselves. So just notice how easily we say things internally that we would never say to someone that we love, right? We all know that we probably speak a lot more, less nicely to ourselves than we would ever say to somebody that we care about. So things like, you should be better, that was stupid, you always mess this up, why are you like this? Things like that. They may seem simple when you're saying them, but you really are confirming a programming within you that it is okay to be uneasy with yourself and kind of harsh. So that tone shapes our nervous system a lot more than you would think. So whenever the inner voice is harsh, the body contracts. Creativity decreases a lot for us. We risk shrinking ourselves. We just start telling ourselves we're less than we could be. When this is a moment we could be empowering ourselves or being compassionate. When we take that harsh road, we're just affirming that we are not good enough. And the story we tell ourselves is what we can actualize within our life. So when you change that narrative, it really changes things for us. So, but when the inner voice becomes very compassionate, the body softens, growth accelerates, learning expands, and resilience increases. So compassionate inner dialogue does not mean pretending that everything is fine. It means saying, I see that was hard, I am learning, I can adjust, I am allowed to grow. So rewiring begins when awareness meets kindness. Ask yourself, what tone does my inner voice usually carry? That's a good place to start.
Yes. When we speak about compassionate inner dialogue, we are not excusing behavior. We are changing the energy of growth. Shame does not produce sustainable transformation. Awareness with compassion does. If your inner voice says you failed again, interrupt and ask, what would growth sound like instead? Maybe that didn't go how I wanted. What can I learn? Compassion creates forward motion, and criticism creates paralysis. The question is not, do I make mistakes? The question is, how do I respond to myself when I do? When we soften the tone within, we soften how we show up in relationships, because we cannot offer others more grace than we offer ourselves.
Yes, thank you.
So with that, we
So
can...
let's go ahead and do the our chant.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll go into the breathwork.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started with a chant. It's a very simple one. You've probably heard it before. It's Om.
And just feel it vibrating in your body.
Om. Started with our breath work today. I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to what's called the infinity breath. If you haven't joined us before, some people who've been with us for a while, they know what this is. Essentially, what it is we breathe in through our nose, or we breathe out through our mouth to start.
Blowing all the stale air and energy out.
Yep, blowing out all that stale energy. And then we hold in our center, and then we breathe in through our nose. All that bright, beautiful creator light all around us. And we hold in our center once more, and then we start to circulate. We breathe out through our mouth. Hold. Breathe in through our nose again.
And it's shaped like an 8. So when you're blowing out, just imagine that you're doing that bottom loop. At your end, that's your center again. And when you breathe in that upper loop, you're going to visualize. So use that creative visualization, and just you can see whatever colors come to you. Just beautiful creator light, air, and energy that you're breathing back in to re-purify yourself. And then holding that center. And then after you've done that initial blowout of all your stale energy, it's done. So now you're just circulating that purified air and energy throughout your system. So is everybody ready to do it together? Mm-hmm. All right, let's go together, starting with blowing all your stale air and energy out. Hold in that center. Alright, just see all that creator light, air, and energy, and just circulating it. Just continue to focus on your breath.
And as we breathe, what we're going to do today is compassion breath. As you're inhaling and exhaling, inhale, I am learning. Exhale, I am allowed to grow.
I am allowed to grow.
Inhale, I am learning. Exhale, I am allowed to grow. Go ahead and place one hand on your heart and let breath soften the inner tone.
All right, everyone, you're doing great. Just keep focusing on the breath. I'm going to go into a bit of a meditation now. So if you want to just keep your eyes closed or half mask, whatever you choose, and bring to mind a recent mistake or a difficult moment that you've had. Just bring it to your conscious awareness, holding space with it. Notice what your inner voice says in this moment to you. So we're focused on a moment where things didn't go quite the way we planned, a mistake or difficult moment, focusing on your inner voice. What is that inner voice saying to you? If it was harsh, if it was not kind, if it was not empowering, let's change that. With that same situation in your mind, we're going to replace that negative, harsh statement that we told ourselves. We're going to replace it with something much more empowering, more gentle, and forward moving for what the goals and that harmony that we are seeking. So whatever it is that you may have said to yourself before, replace some of those words with hope, with encouragement, with acceptance that, hey, yeah, that was this time, but I can change that next time. I learned something. Wow, I can move forward with this lesson and I can change that next time. Something that supports you. Maybe I'm just human. I am practicing. I am becoming. And now be aware of how your body feels instead of how it felt when you were being harsh to yourself. Doesn't that feel better? Does the body feel more calm than prior when you were speaking harshly and it was tightening? So just allow this moment to connect with your body and just reminding yourself that I'm human, I'm practicing, and I am becoming. So just let compassion replace any contraction within your body, and remember this moving forward. We always have a choice. We can speak to ourselves in a way that will support and empower us to achieve the goals and live in a harmony as we desire, or we can continue to speak harshly and confirming the story that is not necessarily true, that we can do better, we can choose to move forward and try to make a shift and a change in the way that we speak to ourselves, therefore changing the outcome of what we are setting to.
All right.
So you can just continue to breathe, continue to focus. We are going to move about in the temple and share some energy healing work, and just keep focusing on your breathing, staying present, and just allowing that compassion within your body and your energy.
Healing of the mind. This week, notice the tone of your thoughts. If it becomes sharp or critical, pause. Place your hand on your heart and say, I choose compassion over criticism. Compassion strengthens the mind. Criticism weakens it. Each kind sentence you speak internally builds new neural pathways.
All right.
Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you, Miguel. We're going to go ahead and get started with our circle group game for today.
Yes, so we're going to just sit this way across from each other so that those folks at home can still catch up with us. I think we're all in here. Once we sit down, I'll adjust if we need to. Yes, that's beautiful. All right, now. All right, so the purpose of our circle group game today is just going to help us to rewrite some of these ways. You know, it's easy to say, oh yeah, change that and things can get better for you. But the practice is what really does, and it helps you become more mindful when you practice. Like, oh, well, what do I say instead? So we're going to work through some of that today so that we can help each other to be more mindful when we do say these harsh, mean things to ourselves that we'd be totally offended if somebody else said to us, right? We totally would, but yet it creeps in. So rewriting and rewiring that is really important. So today, we're gonna complete this sentence. So round one is complete the sentence. So we're gonna say one critical phase or phrase that I catch myself saying. So everybody think of one that you catch yourself saying normally to yourself. I know we kind of all have a go-to of like that thing that even if we try not to be harsh, it still catches up with us. So just envision that one thing that you say to yourself that we're going to try to rewire right now. So do you have one, Quinn?
For me, I would say that it's not so much like always a direct phrase, so much as just like a feeling, you know, that, especially when I've been given a responsibility and I fail to follow through on that, you know, I feel like I'm not doing what I am supposed to do. And I suppose that's the phrase, more like I'm failing somebody else. I'm failing the person who I made this commitment to.
Okay. So do you have one, Migueli?
Well, I often, whenever I start to go through some serious suffering, my immediate response is, I wish I was dead. So,
All right. Well, we'll see if we can help you rewire that one in a more positive aspect that can support you a lot better. Because we all love you. Definitely are so glad that you're on this earth with us. What about you? Would you have one that's fresh on your mind that you say?
Quite often, I say that I'm the dumbest thing that you can be.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna help with that one too. All right, so now in round two, we're gonna reframe it with some compassion. So what is a way that you will start right here with you? What is a way that you can rephrase that in a way that it gives compassion to, yeah, maybe you did not achieve the goal or you didn't do something exactly the way you set out to, but that can empower you for next time instead of being harsh and critical. Can you think of a way that you could say that, say something that's a little better and more positive for you? Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just gotta do it right next time.
Yeah, next time I won't do it that way, or you know, whatever that might be for you. What about you, Migueli?
I would say, even though I'm
beautiful. Absolutely, yes. And then Quinn?
There's a few things that I can think of. For one, sometimes it's important to be selfish. Sometimes it's important, even if I'm not doing what I said I'd do. Sometimes it's because I'm not in a place to do that, or I can't. I put too much on myself, and that commitment was made from a place of just over eagerness to help, and not like a place where I was able to help. I just didn't understand that I wasn't in that place, and I overcommitted.
All right. So now we are going to all go around each of you to just say your statement. So imagine that you just had that circumstance, and instead of saying that harsh thing, practice just saying that new dialogue that's going to support you and encourage you to do what it is that you were setting out to next. All right.
So if I were to boil that down, I'd say I am learning where I can and cannot apply myself.
Perfect. Yay. Miguel?
Even though I'm hurting right now, I know that things will get better. Just have that hope that it will get better one day.
Perfect.
A lot of things. And so I want to
All right, yay. I want everybody to give yourself a hand on that, because that is the beginning of so much. When we, like I said, we all would be so offended if somebody just outright, especially the amount of times in a week that we might say these negative things to us, we would almost feel like it was like being abused by a person, right? So let's remember that what we say to ourselves is actually can shift your energy more than anyone else saying it to you. How we speak to ourselves is the most important thing, because then when we change that and someone says something unkind, it doesn't bother us as much, because we realize that we hold the truth within ourselves and we're more aware of that, and so it won't affect us as poorly as it would if we're actually also talking smack to ourselves, right?
Right.
So yes, all right. So I'm very proud of you guys for that. That's very beautiful, and it's really important to every time, because when you talk about it today, doesn't mean that you're not going to have those thoughts come back up. When they arise, when you catch yourself, that's an opportunity for healing and growth. So that's one of the ways that the divine orchestration of things works out. We become aware of something, then we have experiences where we get an opportunity to make that change and that shift, and then with that experience, we get to see a different outcome, and that's where that wisdom comes in. And once that wisdom is in there, good luck anybody trying to change that for you. That's there. It's something that you've experienced and applied to your life, and then moving forward, it's going to be a lot easier to find that you're not talking negative to yourself. And if you ever find yourself doing it, you're going to be like, whoa, that hasn't happened in a while, right? You'll notice the difference, because it won't be something you're used to anymore. It will be some old programming from the past that might eventually slip back in, and you can almost laugh at it then and be like, wow, okay, I've come so far. It's been a really long time since I've done that. And so that can also be a moment to just appreciate how far you've come, that it has been quite a while since you've spoken to yourself in such a harsh way.
All right.
So that is beautiful. All right, so yes, we're going to get into homework
for this week, yes. So, first, to start, catch one critical sentence, or self-critical sentence daily. Rewrite it, either mentally or actually in a journal, compassionately and speak that out loud.
All right, yes, that's beautiful. So we'll say it one more time for you folks at home if you want to have write it down or type it in your phone. So catch one self-critical thing that you're gonna say that you say to yourself daily. Rewrite it in your head or on paper, and then speak it out loud in the updated, more empowering version. And that will, through practice, that's gonna help you rewire that. Affirmation for this week. My inner voice supports my growth. We all can say that together. My inner voice supports my growth.
And we've got a journal prompt this week, which is, what tone did I grow up hearing that I now use on myself?
Right. So if you just start a journal page, write that at the top. Whenever you feel called to this week, whether it's 4 or 5 different times, one setting, whatever, if you have anything, whether it's a word or a doodle or anything like that, it all matters. And if you continually join us and you do this, after a while, you're going to have a whole journal of stuff that helps you see yourself a lot more clearly. So whether this one activity is like profound and life-changing for you, if you continue to work the process, you will eventually start to see yourself and that inner voice coming out and showing you different things. So trust the process and definitely show up for the work, and you're going to see transformation in your life.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start getting ready for our podcast.
Yes, we encourage everyone to stick around if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, so we're going to take just a few minutes to get set up for the podcast, Harmony for Humanity, and if you'd like to stay behind, we will be starting in just a couple minutes. Hi, welcome. All right, y'all. Thank you. That was great. Now we just do a little flip around. Okay, I feel like we need one more. And I'll just have to put this. Alright, you joining us?
Yeah, it's out and to the right.
Okay, so you'll need the key. Just so I'll show you. Alright, yeah, and so we're gonna already be started, so if you want to just sit on the couch and watch us or something. Okay. There we are. Everybody's in.
Right, we're all in.
All right, cool. All right, welcome, beautiful souls. Hello, welcome to Lotus Flower Wellness Podcast, Harmony for Humanity. I'm Erin.
I'm Quinn.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So If you joined us for temple service, thanks for hanging out. We hope you get a lot from this discussion. If you have any questions or have anything that you may want us to speak on now or in the future, you can leave us a comment and we will check it out later. All right. Well, thank y'all so much. All right. So today we definitely were talking about something very important, which is rewiring some of that, the internal dialogue that we say to ourselves so that it can support us for our highest good and ultimately being more compassionate and kind to ourselves instead of speaking harsh and negatively to ourselves. So I thought today's temple service went really well. Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into our questions. So what tone does your inner voice usually carry? You want to start this one out?
I honestly, I feel like it'd be a little bit more helpful to go a bit into my past, because like my inner voice used to be a lot more harsh than it is now. It can still be harsh from time to time, but like I used to gather with like a group of friends who would like playfully call each other names or say that, oh, I'm trash, or like, you know, all these sorts of things that like we thought because, oh, we're being we're being self-aware, you know, is the idea that like you know, it's like, oh, we're just being playful and self-aware, and you know, it's just a group dynamic thing. But like, you know, like any psychologist will tell you, how you talk to yourself shapes the way that you think about yourself. And at that time, I did have a lot of self-criticism. I even had self-criticism for my criticisms. Like, you know, like I had, sometimes I felt like there were multiple voices in my head, you know, each critiquing different things, you know.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to take it over to Miguel now. So, where do you think your original tone that we've been discussing, that we're trying to rewire a little bit to make it more positive, where do you think that originated? Can you pinpoint it?
Well, I would say I've had a lot of frustration in my life. And I personally go through a lot of pain, physically and emotionally and mentally. And so a lot of times when things become unbearable, sometimes I feel like the only solution is to you open and die. Because I have no way of removing this pain. I just have to wait it out essentially. And trying to put myself clearly death will be later in this now.
Right. I'd actually like to respond to that even a little bit. Something that I learned back when I was listening to a lot of mindfulness podcasts and stuff like that, is a lot of times when we have that kind of, oh, I want to die kind of thought process, most of the time it's coming from a place where spiritually, where mentally, we feel like what we really want is the kind of death which is described in the tarot card death. Like, it's death and rebirth. It's not necessarily a physical death, but it's a death of who we are in that moment. It's a death of like
Ego.
our ego, our current self.
Yeah.
You know, like our current situation. Something's got to give, something's got to change. A lot of times you hear those things.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just sort of this feeling that spiritually we feel one way, but egoically, you know, it presents as, oh, I want to die, because our ego would rather us die than lose control, than lose, like, the way that we have been living, all the rules that we currently follow, based on our programming. You know, it's Like it's like this has been working this whole time. All the stuff that we've been doing, it's been working, and you want to do something that hasn't been proven yet. That hasn't,
Right, exactly.
like, you know, it's not a part of our part of our program. It's outside of the normal things that we do. So I'd rather us die actually than have that happen. You know, and that can only lead to more pain. You know,
Yeah.
because like that's what our programming tells us. But you know, a lot of like our risks and like the things that we do, that leads to growth. Like the things that we do outside of our normal, what we've become used to.
Yes, thank you. Thank you both for sharing. So, how does criticism affect your body?
Well, criticism, I feel like it affects your body in a number of ways. It's something that, like, the way that we treat ourselves and also the way that we treat others has an effect on our physiology. It can cause illnesses. It can be the root of, like, you know, as much as, you know, there is medical science to this stuff, a lot of medical science will tell you, oh, stress is a leading cause of this thing. Stress is a leading cause of that thing. Well, what is at the root of that stress? What is at the root of, like, these mental, you know, aspects which are affecting our physical bodies? A lot of it might come from guilt. It may come from, you know, fear. It may come from, like, you know, a number of things that you feel, or like self-criticism.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're criticizing yourself too harshly, and that is affecting your mental health.
Yes, thank you. Miguel, how does compassion affect your body?
Compassion.
Yeah, when you're compassionate with yourself versus harsh.
Well, it certainly relieves a lot of the stress and anxiety and frustration on the other end.
Yeah.
So definitely it relieves a lot of the physiological pain associated with those things. Just helps me be more receptive to who I am, and which gives me the motivation for me to want to do that.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, I'm happy to hear that. So, when resistance comes up, what resistance comes up for you when you feel like what we talked about, reframing the way that you speak to yourself? Can you pinpoint any resistance that came up during the exercise that we had in circle time? Did you feel any resistance coming up to that, or did your body seem to be very drawn to changing that narrative?
I'm usually a pretty honest person, so I wouldn't say I usually just do it how it is, but sometimes expressing my inner emotions is kind of difficult for me sometimes. So, expressing my thoughts or whatever, or just saying how I'm feeling kind of difficult for me a lot of times.
Right. And I feel like you said, you like to tell it how it is with things, and sometimes the way that we frame our thoughts, we feel like that is the way that it is. So it can be hard also, I think, to own up to that doesn't have to be the way that it is. That's just the way that I'm thinking it is.
Yeah, right. So I appreciate that interjection there, because it's really, we are the story that we tell ourselves, and through the lens that we see things. So changing a few words in one sentence really changes the perspective of it. And actually, it's energetic value, right? So if you're saying something and you're adding that negative inclination to it, the same exact thing you could be talking about, just changing a couple words and putting something more empowering within there, instantly, just within your own vibrational energy, really shifts that narrative completely. You could be talking about the same exact thing and just changing out a couple words. Can really change that, and that really tells your entire body a different story than having more low vibrational words in there that get you to focus in a lower dimensional of the energy.
Like saying, I want this version of myself instead of I want to. You know, it changes the meaning. I want it, instead of wanting to end yourself, it's wanting to change yourself. And to be someone different than who you have.
Right. Beautiful. Let's see. How might changing your inner tone affect your relationships, Migueli? Like, do you feel like if you had a more compassionate tone with the way that you spoke to yourself, do you feel like you might maybe have a different perspective of maybe how people are coming across speaking to you? Sometimes when we have a negative tone for our own inner talk, we can naturally assume that when people are talking to us, maybe they might have somewhat of the same type of intent to us, which can affect the way that we perceive the way people are coming at us. Do you see that ever happening for you?
Yeah, I guess so. 'Cause, I mean, it could affect a lot of things. It could affect our confidence. I'm down on myself. I'm confident because you can see that. And so it speaks to me. Less the guy you I speak to myself. So, and also too, it can help me just generalize compassion. If I can be compassionate to myself, compassionate to others, myself, others.
Right. You know, like speaking from personal experience, I know that I've overheard my mom on phone calls, particularly with like she's calling back about like she wants to do a return or like something with someone on the other line who's speaking for a business, and she'll get this. She'll feel like the other person is talking down to her, or she's like they're taking on like a tone with her that, like, when I hear it, I don't hear that at all. But from her perspective, she feels like she's being talked down to, like she's being antagonized and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like when we have like this negative self-talk, we can bring that into conversation with others, and we can see in what other people are saying a tone that doesn't really exist, or like, you know, that we kind of project onto them.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, the point of that question was to thought-provoking, because not only are we doing that to ourselves, but then that is projecting out, even though we might not realize it. It is the lens that we are seeing the world through, which changes the way that we perceive other people's intentions when they speak to us. And we may even tell ourselves, well, wow, I'm not sure. It's almost like in a text, it's hard to tell what the tone is when somebody is texting you, but most of the time people take the tone of how they're feeling about themselves in that moment and automatically assume that is how the person is portraying that message. So that very same text, if we're in a great mood, we read it, we may think, oh yeah, this person's giving me like props. And if we're in a bad mood and feeling negative about ourselves, we may automatically assume that person is trying to be rude, or what are they saying?
Like we might normally take like a message as, oh, it's playful, it's joking or whatever, but like if we're in a bad mood, it's like, oh, they're shit talking. Like
That's
they're,
right.
you know, like they're calling me names. What do you mean that? You know, like.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was the point of the whole line of questioning here, is to help support us to see that not only are we talking negative to ourselves, but that is actually painting a picture of the way that we see all the interactions that we're having from moment to moment, based off of where we're allowing our storyline to go, based off of the love and the compassion we're giving, or the lack thereof, to ourselves. So. Great, wonderful. All right, does anybody want to share any integration story or anything, with me that you've been going through that you're starting to see come to light for you?
I think for me, I've sort of been like, I've been noticing that like there is a lot of what I feel is like duty, or like, you know, things that I feel like I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to like, which like I'm learning to be a bit softer with myself on, because like I understand that like, you know, there's certain things in life that I want to support, like I want to lift up and be there for certain people, certain situations, but I don't have to be there for all of them. And I need to pay attention to my own well-being as well. And like also, you know, when something does or does not speak to me, that doesn't mean that like I'm failing. That doesn't mean that I'm not where I need to be. That just means that's not speaking to me in that moment. And sometimes I just need to listen to the voice within, rather than being like, oh well, the voice within is supposed to say this. You know, why isn't it saying this? Why isn't it going along with this idea that I have for my life? You know, like sometimes it can feel like my life is going a certain way, and then suddenly it's like, wait, no, I don't really feel as aligned with this all of a sudden. It feels like the rug almost gets pulled out from under. And maybe what that means is that my life is going a different way now. So like I've realized that sometimes I can be resistant to that. Like, you know, the idea that, oh, but it was supposed to keep going this way. Like why is it suddenly going a different way? You know?
Yeah, I totally get that. Well, thank you so much for sharing. All right, so in closing, I just want to remind everyone that compassion is not weakness. It is intellectual, intelligent growth, like learning that as we speak negative to ourselves, that doesn't get us where we want to go. It only brings us further down the road that we're trying so hard to escape from, right? And so when we do start to become consciously aware of that choice that we have every single time, and we choose to empower ourselves, speak positive, forward moving in the path in the way that we want, that really can shift yourself and your timeline based off of getting back to harmony and having less suffering in your life. So I do want to encourage everyone, when it comes up for you, you catch yourself speaking negative to yourself, rewire it, turn back around and say, okay, I see what I just did there. How could I have said that more, a little more with grace for myself and empowering and supportive for myself? And it starts with that moment right there. And then if it comes back up again, and do it again and continue to do it. And before you know it, you will be more in the habit of speaking compassionately to yourself and less in the habit of speaking harshly. And that is going to show in many ways in your life, because That's going to change your entire lens of how you're seeing communication throughout other people within your environment, and it really can change your entire existence and what you experience day to day just by starting that inner dialogue change.
Right.
Yes, so I just want to remind everyone just to practice that self-awareness, and may your awareness lead to your evolution. All right, you can finish our
All right. So I'll do the closing. Compassion is not weakness. It is intelligent growth. May your inner voice become a guide, not a judge. May your awareness lead to your evolution, and may harmony for humanity begin within.
flow. Amazing. All right, thanks for joining us.
Namaste.
If you know someone that could really benefit from what we discussed today, please share it out with them. If you want to show support for our channel, please like, share, comment. That helps us to get the message out to more people. All right, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.